long before it became a symbol of modern power, before its name echoed across the world, as a promise or a warning, the land that would one day be called New York City existed in a state of quiet complexity. The island of Manhattan rose from the surrounding waters not as a blank slate, but as a living, breathing ecosystem. Rivers shaped movement. Forests dictated shelter. The tides controlled time itself. This land was not waiting to be discovered. It was already known intimately by those who lived upon it. For generations beyond counting, the Lenape people inhabited the region. Their lives were interwoven with the land in ways European minds struggled to comprehend. The Lenape did not divide territory with fences or deeds. They moved with the seasons, following patterns refined through centuries of observation. To them, land was not an object to be owned, but a responsibility to be honored. Rivers were not obstacles, but pathways. The island called Mannahatta was fertile, abundant, and balanced. That balance would not survive first contact. Across the Atlantic, Europe was entering an age of hunger for wealth, for influence, for control. Kingdoms measured success not by stability, but by expansion. Oceans were no longer barriers. They were corridors. Ships sailed not out of curiosity, but calculation. In this world, exploration was inseparable from commerce, and commerce was inseparable from power. In 1609, a ship under Dutch command sailed westward, captained by Henry Hudson. Hudson was not searching for a new land to settle. He was pursuing a dream shared by many explorers of his era. A faster route to Asia, a passage that would unlock unimaginable wealth. Instead, he entered a wide river, calm and deep, stretching far into the interior of the continent. He sailed north, mapping possibility with every mile. What Hudson found was not Asia, but something equally valuable. The river provided access to trade networks deep inland. The surrounding land promised resources. The harbor offered shelter unmatched along the Atlantic coast. When Hudson returned, his reports ignited immediate interest. The Dutch Republic, already a commercial powerhouse, recognized that control of this region could mean dominance in Atlantic trade. They moved quickly. In 1624, Dutch settlers arrived and established a foothold at the southern tip of Manhattan. They named the settlement New Amsterdam. It was not founded as a city of ideals, but as a node in a vast commercial network controlled by the Dutch West India Company. Every decision was made through the lens of profit. Buildings rose where they were useful. Laws existed to protect commerce, not people. The city began as a ledger entry. Fur trading became the engine of survival. Pelts flowed from Native American traders to Dutch merchants, then across the ocean to European markets. Wealth accumulated, but unevenly. Power concentrated in the hands of company officials. Labor fell upon the backs of settlers, sailors, and enslaved Africans brought forcibly into the colony. Freedom existed, but only for some. Then came the moment that history would later reduce to a single misleading sentence. In 1626, Peter Minuit negotiated an agreement with the Lenape that Europeans recorded as the purchase of Manhattan. The price goods valued at 60 guilders became legend. It was taught as cleverness, as inevitability, as destiny. But the truth was quieter and far more tragic. The Lenape did not believe land could be sold permanently. They understood the exchange as an agreement to share access, not surrender sovereignty. The Dutch believed they now possessed the island outright. Two civilizations, operating under incompatible assumptions, sealed a misunderstanding that could never be corrected. From that moment on, the fate of Manhattan was sealed not by violence alone, but by silence. New Amsterdam grew slowly, unevenly, and restlessly. It was not a harmonious place. It was crowded, dirty, tense, and diverse. Dutch traders lived alongside Germans, Scandinavians, Africans, Jews, Catholics, Protestants, and free blacks. This diversity was not born from tolerance, it was born from necessity. The Dutch needed manpower, skills, and resilience more than uniformity. Conflict was constant. Governors ruled harshly and were widely disliked. Settlers complained of corruption and incompetence. Crime flourished. Disease spread quickly. Fires destroyed entire sections of the settlement. Yet despite everything, or perhaps because of it, the city endured. It adapted. It absorbed pressure rather than breaking. That adaptability would save it again. In 1664, English warships entered the harbor. New Amsterdam was unprepared and unwilling to fight. The Dutch surrendered without bloodshed. Control of the city passed quietly into English hands, and the settlement was renamed New York. No walls fell. No heroes emerged. The city simply changed owners. Under English rule, New York expanded rapidly. Its port became central to transatlantic trade. Slavery became deeply embedded in the city's economy, shaping its labor systems and wealth distribution. Markets thrived. Inequality deepened. Riots erupted. Fires returned. Fear and opportunity coexisted in every street. By the mid-18th century, New York was no longer a colonial outpost. It was a city with gravity. When revolution swept the colonies, New York was torn apart by loyalty and rebellion. It was occupied by British forces for much of the war. Families were divided. Neighborhoods emptied. The city suffered, but it survived. When independence finally arrived, New York stood battered, yet positioned to rise. It briefly served as the capital of the new United States, but its true destiny lay elsewhere. Immigration transformed it beyond recognition. Millions arrived with nothing but urgency and hope. Streets pushed northward. Neighborhoods layered over one another. Industry reshaped the skyline. Bridges conquered water. Towers challenged the sky. Every generation tore down and rebuilt what came before. Yet beneath it all, the foundation remained unchanged. New York was never built to be peaceful. It was built to move, to trade, to absorb pressure and convert conflict into momentum. From its earliest days as a contested island to its rise as a global metropolis, the city was defined not by harmony, but by motion. It was born from misunderstanding, forged by ambition, sustained by reinvention. And that is why New York never sleeps, because from the moment it was founded, it was never meant to rest.